Hi, my name is Alcis Dore. It is such a great honor to introduce my presentation. First of all, three biblical passages that reflect my understanding of Christian ethics. First passage, the alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 34. This ethical verse replicates in the New Testament as follows: love your neighbors as yourself. Then Jesus talks about the golden rules. Whatever you would like other to do for you, do it for them as well. Second passage. Paul made another ethical statement. He said, "Do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ? Should I therefore take the members of Christ and make them members of a prostitute? Never." 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15. And this verse, Paul does not deny the principle of freedom. However, instead, he reminds the people of Corinthians of the absurdity of their actions. Third passage. Paul went thus far with his ethical argument. He says, "So put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you. Have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world." Colossians 3, verse 5. Ethical issues into which I gained additional insight from the course. You and your spouse are unable to have children. However, you greatly desire to have children of your own. Which of the options described in chapter 6 of our text would you select in order to have a child of your own? In this case study, the law of conscience comes out as an excellent moral tool to make a right judgment. Another case study that speaks volume to me is the international business ethics. In this case, I was asked to make an ethical decision on whether to pay pledges to government officials. And as a result, I agreed not to pay the pledges. Instead, I agreed to obey the law of the United States of America. One of the most significant cases study from which I gained knowledge is John's case, whereby I was asked to make an ethical and crucial decision. In this case, I have decided to vote that the doctor authorizes the end of life of John. because to me it was ethical. A case study that illustrates how I would help someone else work through an ethical problem. Here is the case. A brother in the church involved in the case of theft, something which is not exaggerated, and the state's authorities would put no charge against him if I only intervene on his behalf. I would intervene to set him free, because if the state's authorities find that he deserves forgiveness, I, as a servant of God, should not condemn him. A description of one ethical topic where I feel undecided. Here is the case. My sister indicates her decision to divorce her husband. She then seeks my advice to validate her decision. Why I feel undecided? I am undecided because I know most of the time when people asking for advice in crucial case of this nature, they already made up their minds, but they're simply looking for a moral person to validate their decision. What further information I will need to make a decision? Finally, in order to decide on the case, I would need to hear from her husband's side of the story and then evaluate potential consequences. Professor and fellow students, I thank you. May God bless you.